First off, I want to thank Todd for the invitation here. Before I get into it, I'd like to talk about the history and how I come up to answer the question. Right? So some of you may be familiar with social media. I am familiar with it this much. Right? And I have a love-hate relationship with social media. Right? I love being able to follow friends. I love the quotes and the jokes. I'm not real happy with the misinformation and stuff like that, half-truths. So I get by with that. But it has done something very important to me, is it strengthened my relationship with my adult children, because they love answering baby boomer dads' questions about how do you do this and how do you do that on social media. So it's a little bit interesting. But one of the things I read was talking about half-truths, is one of the things it said was, in 100 years, nobody will remember you, not even your own family. I thought, what the hell is that about? So I did a little research, and they couldn't contribute or couldn't put that to any one person. But there were a lot of different things that we're talking about in 100 years. And one of the things that they brought up was an article written by Forrest Whitcroft in 1950 for a Boy Scout magazine. And I'm not going to go through the whole article, all right, but it was Within My Power is the name of the article. And his last paragraph was, basically, it didn't matter how big your house was, what kind of car you drove, how big your bank account, how much money you had in your bank account. What it was that it says, can I make a difference in the world? And I'm not quoting him, but basically it said, can I make a difference in the life of a young boy, because it was for the Boy Scouts. And then other articles said for a child. But I interpreted that as what kind of difference, what kind of impact can we make, right? And I think that's very important. That's why we're all here, is to make a positive impact on police work. And that's what I look at as how I want to answer the question, is I believe now it's very clear, to make a positive impact, you not only have to be a good instructor, but you have to be a good leader and a good teammate. And I want to give you some examples of that from my leader. But before I do that, one of the things in my entire life, anything that I ever did successfully, I was part of a team, and that team comprised of nothing but good leaders. So the other thing, on a side note, I've been married for almost 42 years. My wife has been the main member of my team, and I would not have anything success without her. She's been there for the whole time, so that's been interesting. So. She doesn't let me know it all the time, but I tell her she does, so anyway. But so here's the thing. Let's talk about how I can prove to you that you have to be a good team leader and a good teammate. And that is, let's take Ed Nowicki. We talked about him anytime we're here, we talk about Ed. I met Ed in 1989. I didn't know him. I was just passing through Kansas City for their conference there. I was only going to be there a day and a half, and I asked him, could I stop by? When I met him and said, hey, I'm John Meyer, and he goes, oh my God, I thought he was my long lost uncle or something. The guy he's a visionary. He's a leader and he's a visionary, but he also would get down and roll around with you in the dirt, And I don't claim to know Ed anywhere, like people in this room know Ed, but I was very impressed with him. He came out and saw some of our training in the future years, very impressed. The next person was Gary Klugowitz. Right? Gary Klugowitz hasn't been to lead in a long time, but this guy's another leader. I met him in 1990 in San Diego at the ASLIT conference. And the story about Gary told me, he said, hey, we're going to have a businessman lunch. You want to go? It's in room ABC or whatever. So I said, yeah, I'm always up for lunch. So I went down there. There was 40 people in the room. There wasn't a table, a chair, or food. Nothing. There were 40 striking bags, right? And he just told everybody to get striking bags, and we just beat the hell out of each other for about 45 minutes until we were a puddle of sweat, right? Gary, how many people here know Gary? Contagious energy is the only way I can put it. I've known him since 1990. I think he's a tremendous leader, and I definitely want to have him on my team. The next person we talked about this morning was Coach Lindsay. I met him right about the same time, and he was very impressive, but the thing that impressed me most about him, Aslet was going through some troublesome time, and they had straight talk with the board. Anybody remember that? Okay. Coach waited in line, put his name on the board so he could talk, and everybody's arguing back and forth. Coach got up there, talked for 15 minutes like a Southern preacher. You could hear a pin drop in the room. He had total control of that room, and everybody was going to listen to him. So he was a leader, eloquent speaker, right? And he just drips of experience and knowledge. So, but again, he's a team member. Everybody here knows, anybody who knows Coach knows he's on your team, okay? And he makes it very clear of that. The next person is a person who's usually, I like to talk about people behind the scenes also. Mary Grace, right? Everybody knows Mary Grace, and you see her, and she's always full of energy, blah, 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 gives you a hug. And, but she's putting this little Super Bowl that's going to start tomorrow together with 120 vendors. And you can bet that every one of those 120 vendors does exactly what they're supposed to do, fills out all the paperwork, pays their bills on time, never has a question, right? Yeah, you're right, 2 of them. The rest of the other 118 are asking questions, and right in the middle of everybody trying to do this, she's calm as cucumber, no problem. She's got it handled. And then I come in and say, hey, I want to show you a picture of my grandchild. And, oh, I'll show you yours. She's got things hanging from the ceiling, doing all kinds of stuff, but she's got it in control. She is a leader and a team member. So that's what I wanted to do, is prove that my idea of that to have an impact, a positive impact, you have to be both a leader and a teammate. Now, if you look at where we are on our leader right now, after Ed left or after Harvey took over with Brian, it just keeps building and building and building, right? Now we have Ray and Joe, right? And they're just building, and they've got all kinds of new things going on, right? I think it's fantastic. So the thing that we have to look at, though, is that we want to be good leaders. We want to improve police work and be a member of a team. So right now, we have hundreds of leaders all converging right here to be part of a team. Before you leave here, everybody's talked about it, so I'm not saying anything new, but before you leave here, there's going to be how many classes going on, and there's all going to be little teams all talking about it and how to make police work better and safer. So the last thing I want to leave you with is that we here are all responsible for inspiring new leaders. So that's really all I have. I don't know, I hope I'm within my 9 minutes. 3 seconds, 2 seconds? Here, look at that, huh? All right, huh? So thank you very much. All right.